Well, you guys requested it and here it is. Here are the top 10 manga characters on Bleach Brave Souls. Now before I begin, please keep in mind that all of the manga characters, except for one, are exceptional in their own way, and this is not a top 10 list for a specific game mode, it's a top 10 overall. Every aspect of the game has been taken into consideration, and the order of the list can change depending on the game mode you're on, but this particular list was decided based on the character's overall usefulness and strength in the variety of game modes. With that said, let's begin.
千景千本桜影吉王位一家先陣家
Kicking things off, we have Byakuya Kuchiki, whose overall stats are the lowest from the manga characters, but they are still pretty high, and he comes with a number of useful abilities. The first being his Strong Attack 2, which is a barrier move, and it's a barrier move with a 160% mag, meaning that this is actually his strongest move, other than his special, and it does more damage than a regular strong attack. It's also extremely useful to have, as you can continue to use it over and over again, and it helps protect both you and your teammates. It also helps conserve Byakuya's Link, which increases the damage of anything he does by 20% as long as his health is full, making both his strong attacks and his normal attacks even better. Speaking of which, they're both ranged, which helps you deal damage from a distance and makes him pretty useful in any type of PvE. Byakuya also has an Arankar killer, which also comes pretty handy in PvE, especially when the killer is multiplied in things like droplet zones, inheritance zones, or the Senkaimon quests. And finally there's Byakuya's special. That's one of the hardest hitting specials in the entire game due to his bombardment, and if his health is full, it does even more damage because of his link. In fact, having full health and attention tie will help you deal damage more than 400% of a normal special, and if an enemy should survive, they're left with a weakened defense. Pretty big if though.
挽回加点胸骨から松真珠これにて大詰め締めの段糸切りばさみ血染めの喉笛
You know that if this guy is this high up on the list, that these characters are seriously overpowered, because Shunsui is one of the strongest speed characters in the entire game, and definitely one of the most fun to use. He has a really high SP as well as frenzy, and great range on his strong attacks. He also has great range and speed on his normal attack, which is actually pretty fun to use, and I recommend you try an ad build sometime. Still, his strong attacks is where he shines, and his strong attack 3 is a full screen one, while his strong attack 2 is one of the strongest things in the entire game. Now those of you who just started might be wondering why, and the reason is actually pretty simple. Do you remember Byakuya and how his strong attack 2 was 160% mag? Well, Shunsui also has that, except Shunsui has frenzy, meaning it does double the damage. Not only that, but it also has a 16-second cooldown, allowing you to use it often. It's one of the best strong attacks in the entire game, provided you use it correctly, of course. Because while it is a boss-killing strong attack, you do have to get close and personal with him. Otherwise, the damage is watered down. Shunsui also has a ridiculous special. It's one of the coolest looking ones in the game, in my personal opinion, but it's also one of the best ones. You see, while most of the time it does regular amounts of damage, it does have a small chance to instant kill, which is like instant ramen, but if the ramen was death. This particular instant kill ability comes in handy in a variety of different game modes, most notably the Senkaimon quests, where it comes in really useful in some of the higher floors.
勝たせてもらうぜそう次までセゲ鉄砲
Now next up on the list we have Renji Abarai, who answers the question, what if K-Lab made a good canon Renji? Seriously guys, this guy is insanely good. We thought Shunsui's strong attacks had good range, but this guy has him beat. Well, except for his strong attack 3 that isn't full screen, but it is a charge move that transforms his 120 meg strong attacks to 240, effectively doubling the damage. Renji also has a higher SP, pretty crazy high actually, and he has frenzy. To top it off, he also has a really decent attack stat for a character with such a high SP. His nab string is also pretty great, because it also has good reach and it helps increase the combo pretty quickly. Renji also has an Arankar killer, which is pretty useful because it's the second best one in the game. In addition to that, much like Shunsui, he also has an instant kill special, which honestly is just an added bonus for this character.
挽回八下の咎めこれが私の残白刀の真の力だ
Now actual damage wise, she doesn't compare to Renji. That said, she is more useful than him. This is because all of Rukia's attacks have a chance to inflict debilitating freezing, which comes in handy anywhere. Seriously, PvE, PvP, it doesn't matter where you take her, her debilitating freezing is super useful. Rukia also has a really high SP as well as frenzy, and she also has pretty great range on her strong attacks. Her strong attack 3 is full screen, and her strong attack 2 is a vortex hybrid move that hits multiple times as it sucks enemies in and increases the chance of inflicting freezing while sacrificing a little bit of damage, which is unfortunate, but to get freezing is totally worth it. Finally, her special is also pretty unique because it guarantees freezing and it leaves behind a vortex move that only lasts 5 seconds, but it deals a decent amount of damage and helps protect Rukia from any enemies that are coming at her. To top it all off, this character is also completely immune from freezing, which comes in extremely useful in every type of game mode.
冷圧をぶち込んで叩き起こしたいやつがいるんだ。まだ全然使いこなせちゃいねえけどな。
Up next is the true Shikai version of Ichigo Kurosaki, who still has the highest attack in the game as of this recording, as well as a plus 20 Nadlink and Flurry. Now when it comes to normal attack damage, nobody else compares. His attacks not only hit extremely hard, but they're also ranged, making him even better in PvE and even more useful in co-ops. And even though his SP isn't that high, his strong attacks don't go to waste. His strong attack 3 is a full screen move that, while it doesn't do that much damage, does help to break guards, and his strong attack 2 is a crawling vortex move that helps push enemies away, as well as increase the combo. His strong attack 1 also helps keep enemies away, but that's about all it does. Finally, his special is also pretty useful. If you chappy this character, it's not going to do that much damage, but it does leave behind defense weakening, which lets your normal attacks deal even more damage. Now with all that said, he does have a major flaw, and that's in his killer, because he has an Espada killer, which while Arrancar killers are useful, Espada killers not so much. At least, not at the time of this recording. Who knows how the game will change.
4歩のうちに踏みしめた空間の治水化風の全てを凍結する視界氷結
Coming in at number 5 on the list is Toshiro Hitsugaya, who is one of the greatest PvE characters ever to come out. Seriously, he has one of the highest SPs in the entire game, and he has debilitating freezing on all of his strong attacks. Speaking of which, they're all ridiculously fast, which is extremely useful for this character. It makes him really good in PvE and really good in PvP. Now to clear things up for those of you asking why he's above Rukia, it's because Rukia's strong attack 2 sacrifices damage, while Toshiro's does not, and it's a lot faster to activate, plus it encompasses a bigger range. Toshiro also has a strong attack recharge link, which is the best possible link for a character with debilitating status ailments to have, as it allows you to spam your strong attacks as much as you can, increasing the chance of you inflicting debilitating freezing. Toshiro also has a useful special. It guarantees freezing, and it does a decent amount of damage. In addition to that, it also leaves the enemy with defense weakening, which you can then use to deal more damage. He's one of the best characters you can take in any PvE, though I do wish they would have given him a better killer than a hollow killer. Still, it can come in pretty handy.
挽回観音開き絵に姫改め仕方ないっすね
Now let's jump about 20 points higher than any other SP in the characters that we've seen so far, and move on to Kisuke Urahara, who is one of the most useful characters you can possibly have, and it's a character that I recommend everyone get because of that ridiculous special, which does about as much damage as any average special, but it has an additional ability that instantly revives characters up to 50% of their health if they should die at any time after he uses a special. This ability has no time limit, at least to my knowledge. I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong. And you can use it again if you should use your special after the first time you died. Because of this, he is one of the most valuable characters to have in PvE, and I'm sure will prove exceptionally useful in Senkaimon. But his special is not the only great thing about him. After all, he does have a ridiculously high SP as well as Frenzy, and his strong attack 1 is actually a 180% max strong attack. This means if it hits one enemy up close, it does a lot of damage. And if it doesn't hit up close, it has great range for a strong attack 1. His strong attack 2 also hits in waves, which comes in pretty handy, and his strong attack 3 is full screen. He also has a pretty fast Nad string with great range and a decent attack, and he's completely immune from being poisoned, which is going to prove really useful along with his special and autoing.
春光来獣戦人流国病戦役 せ。
Now the final three were actually really hard to pick from, as they're all incredible characters, and it makes me really glad that Yoruichi is one of them. She has the third highest SP in the game, and higher than any other character that came before her, as well as ridiculous range on all of her strong attacks, and the ability to inflict debilitating paralysis on anything. The odds and damage increase because of her frenzy, and she also has a pretty decent attack. In fact, her attack is higher than any other character that's SP based, making her normal attacks also useful. Yoruichi also has an increased number of flash steps, so you can get from one point to another extremely quickly. Unfortunately, she doesn't have long stride, but it's still better than the average character, and it'll let you clear things like guild quest way faster. And that's not all. This character also has a very useful special, because after dealing a decent amount of damage, it also leaves behind a vortex move that surrounds her, and it completely transforms her, changing up everything from her strong attacks to her normal attacks. Not only does it change the appearance, it also increases the damage. It makes her strong attacks go from a 120 mag to a 150 mag, and it also increases the magnification of her normal attacks, significantly increasing the damage, as well as making her jump all over the place when she uses them, which I'm not gonna lie, is kind of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it makes her harder to hit, and it also increases the range of the normal attack. But on the other, it also makes it very difficult to control, and you can very easily end up in a trap you don't want to be in. Still, the trade-off is absolutely worth it, though it only lasts 30 seconds. Now up next is Yachiru. No, not that one.
挽回水無月雑境はこれにておしまい。
This Yachiru is an absolute monster. She has one of the highest attacks in the game, as well as poise and flurry, making her normal attacks hit twice, effectively doubling the damage. This, along with her strong attack 2 that's a heal move, make her the greatest character of all time when it comes to PvP. While there are characters that can match her and beat her, they have to be tailor-made to go up against her, and no other character. Whereas this character can take anything on and live. But it's not just PvP, because she's also an exceptional PvE character. As I mentioned, she can heal, and she has a damage reduction link, meaning she's not gonna go down easy. Her special can also heal her and the entire team for 60% of their health, and it has a chance to insta-kill. That said, her killer, while useful, is only useful in PvP, and while a situation might arise that it'll be useful in PvE, it'll only apply to a boss. In addition to that, she doesn't have the best range when it comes to damage output. Yeah, it's a lot, but because of the nature of this character, it has to be focused in one small area. But even so, it doesn't change the fact that this is one of the most useful characters in the entire game, and the one that's held the title of the best PvP character for the longest time.
これで全部終わりだ。
Now when it comes to PvP, Retsu may reign supreme, but when it comes to PvE, it'll be very hard to top Ichigo. He may not inflict status elements, but he has just about everything else going for him. He has the second highest SP in the game and the highest SP of anybody that has Frenzy, as well as a Soul Reaper killer, which is the best possible killer to have. He's also completely immune from paralyzation and weakening, and his strong attacks have amazing range. His strong attack 3 is a full screen, and his strong attack 2 is a boost move that does a little bit more than that. You see, regular characters have boost moves that increase the defense, the attack, and the focus of the team by 33%. But even fewer characters have Enhancer, as well as a strong attack recharge link that lets the boost move effectively be infinite if you build them correctly. And then there's Ichigo that has all that and more. You see, his boost move also transforms him, and this is not just for appearance. It does the regular thing that a boost move does, which is increase the entire team's stats, but also changes the magnifications on his strong attacks and his normal attacks. And that is extremely valuable, because his strong attacks going from being a 120 mag to a 140 mag, greatly increasing the damage due to that and the frenzy. His normal attacks magnifications also get increased, which becomes even more effective because at that point his attack is over 800. And we have seen this before in other characters like Yoruichi and Bankai Kenpachi. The only difference is that this character can do it infinitely, because while the transformation does last a total of 20 seconds, if you build him with a strong attack recharge build, you can effectively use this over and over and over again, all while also keeping your ally stats increased. I'm sure a lot of us didn't expect a second Ichigo for a manga character, but they absolutely nailed it with this character. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. This is kind of going to replace the attribute top 10 for this week, but it'll be back next week. If you enjoyed this video, hit like and subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for the next top 10 list.